Start.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
How you doing? Nice to meet you.
For those of you that didn't catch what we were doing there, Colin Monahan is a Boy Scout working on what merit badge?
communications, sir. Communications.
Communications, okay, working on a communications badge. He just wants to see how a town board operates. So we're giving him a first-hand seat. Is there any public comment on agenda items? I have the minutes of the April the 12th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. I have a letter from a local resident that asked us to handle some illegally parked cars on Route 218. Just wanted to thank you both for handling the parked cars on Route 218 so quickly. I noticed over the past couple of days that people are no longer parking their cars on the roadside, as far as I can tell. Whatever steps you both took, I certainly appreciate it. Crossing the street to get to the sidewalk with my children is much safer now. There's a clear line of sight down the road. It is so nice to have community leaders that are so responsive and willing to handle even the small issues. Once again, thank you. I'll leave the person's name out. I have a letter from another resident. I'm not sure if he's a resident of the town of Highlands, but he was talking about Mindock Park. Mindock Park is beautiful, very scenic views of the Hudson. My question on Sunday, my wife and I visited the park east of the railroad track where there's a general sign welcoming you to the park, also a general no parking sign. When we drove in, we didn't even see those signs. We did while walking. We crossed the public railroad grade crossing and parked east of the tracks on east of the tracks on the old cement foundation. After we had returned from our vehicle from our walk and lunch, we continued to take in the scenery. Town of Highlands police officer approached, got out of his vehicle, and told us and the 3 other vehicles parked on that foundation that we couldn't park there. My question is, how come there are no signs saying that on or near the foundation? That being said, what is the legal boundary of the single general no parking sign you have up on the by the tables on the tracks? Thank you for taking time to answer my questions. I did answer his question saying that more signs would not enhance the beauty of the park, that one sign directly in front of you when you come across the tracks should be enough. And then he answered me back wanting to know if the parking lot is full, well, what is my contingency plan? I didn't want to be sarcastic in answering back. I left that alone because I know in Bear Mountain when the parking lot's full and the park is closed. That's simple as that. So anyway, I try to answer anybody that gives a question to me, whether it be through email, mail, telephone. On May the 15th, on a Saturday, there's going to be a dedication ceremony of the Debbie Crow Field, home of the Raiders. I'm not sure if this is by invitation only. Maybe Mary Jane?
It is by invitation.
By invitation only. So I can't go, so if my deputy would like to go, or if his deputy would like to go, can certainly take my invitation. You have to call the school. Who wants to go?
I'll contact them.
Okay. Take this, it's got the numbers on it, everything. I think it's at 4 o'clock on a Saturday evening. I can't do it. Okay, we have a list of budget transfers. The long list of budget transfers is mainly due to the large increase in unemployment expenses. So we're moving from town board training to supervisor other expenses, $395, to cover a new printer and a chair. That's got nothing to do with taxes. Town clerk training, town clerk other, to cover software not budgeted for, $500. Building inspector 1, personal services, building other expenses, $1,000. Budget was cut, leaving a shortfall for software maintenance. Summer recreation contractual utilities pool, $500. Pool utilities were not budgeted for. Social Security expense to unemployment insurance, $5,000 to cover the large increase in unemployment expenses. Social Security expense to unemployment insurance, $4,000 to cover increase in unemployment expense. Workers' compensation to unemployment insurance, $1,000 to cover this increase in unemployment expense. Social Security expense, to unemployment insurance, $800 to cover the large increase in unemployment expense. Ambulance retirement to LOSAP, $2,757. The LOSAP expense was higher than budgeted. Social Security expense to unemployment insurance, $1,000 to cover large increase in unemployment expense. Light District contractual to Light District legal, $2,000 to cover unbudgeted legal expenses for the Light District. Social Security expense, unemployment insurance, $1,000 to cover large increase in unemployment expenses. Workers' compensation to unemployment insurance, $100 to cover large increase in unemployment expenses. Are there any questions on any of this? No questions? I'll ask for a motion to approve all the budget transfers listed.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you. Okay, I have to read this, and this has to be in the minutes verbatim, please. The Justice Court audit, as required, pursuant to the Uniform Justice Court Act, Section 219A, or 2019A. It is the duty of every town justice to present his or her records to the town controller for audit. The records have been reviewed and the fines have been collected and turned over to the proper town officials per the town controller for the year ended December the 31st, 2020. So that'll be in the minutes, and make an official copy of that and give it to Kelly. We've transferred into the paying account $78,153. This is to cover the check run dated April the 22nd. The big items are ACT leasing services, $15,750 for highway superintendent truck lease payments. Royal Carding, $2,655 for sanitation for March. Ford Motor Credit Company, $11,476. Police, 2018 Ford Inceptor. Rockland County Solid Waste, $29,000. $1,400 landfill charges. Any questions on those? The lease payments, is that about done on that vehicle? Must be, that'd be 3 years.
One's longer, so this is the one might be coming up one more year.
Oh, okay.
Or
It was a 4-year lease, oh, okay. For those of you listening to me, please excuse my voice. I know most of the time my voice is bad, but it's worse now. I think I got a cold or something, I don't know. I know I got an abscessed tooth. I don't know if that's they're doing it, but
Sorry to hear that.
if anybody wants to loan me $1,800 to get my root canal, I'd appreciate it. Okay, board liaison reports. Council, right now, the board will report, each board member has a certain job, a certain department they look after and what have you. So the board members are going to report to me and the general public as to what their departments are doing.
Okay.
Okay?
My turn.
Councilman Sullivan.
I'm glad Colin's here to join us this evening. So the Zoning Board of Appeals, which meets on the third Wednesday of every month, did not meet in the month of April. If they meet in May, I will announce it at the next meeting, and I'm certain they will meet remotely for the foreseeable future. Planning Board, I was late here in person, their April 15th meeting at Town Hall. They had what I believe were several public hearings. 2 lot line changes in the village are now done. Is that correct, Justin?
Yes,
Those
sir.
matters are done. There was an interested party from 84 Old State Road that did not attend, so be interested if they come next month. The Planning Board and the Zoning Board have good dedicated members. The material requires high-end code knowledge. They are serving the town and their oaths well, and I mean that. They're all doing a good job. They've been tested for the last couple of years, and they're doing a very good job, and I'd like to thank them. In the building department, for the month of March 2021, there were 11 permit applications received, 13 permits were issued. 1 certificate of occupancy was issued, 17 building permit inspections, 0 fire safety inspections. Be patient, I'm going to follow up on that. 19 advisory violation notices were issued, 7 municipal searches were completed. There were no variance applications for the ZBA, and 0 planning board applications were received. There were 5 FOIL requests. So I got an email from Jessica in the building department this morning on we have our consultant handling fire safety inspections. And here's where we're at. From the Lincoln Tully, their person doing it, the report is that 16 of them have passed, 10 need second visits, 10 need first visits, and 2 have incorrect phone numbers. I have here in front of me, I could read it, from the, basically the Administration Enforcement of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, the State Energy Conservation Construction Code for the state of New York. I'm not going to bore everybody with that, but in regard to fire inspections, I've had some complaints from people. Some of them only have to be done every 3 years. I think there's fees associated, and I don't want to state incorrectly what they are. So like there are chicken factories in North Carolina with locked doors where people burn to death. There's situations in Spring Valley a month and a half ago. The fire inspections have to be done as part of this code. So I apologize for anybody that feels bad about the $50, but it's once every 3 years, and our building inspectors have been behind on it. We're catching up with everything, and you can't just go to a property without having a warrant. You have to contact people, and that's not always easy. So I would ask anybody who has been reached out to that hasn't gotten back to please get back so they can complete these fire safety inspections. That project is going well. Earth Day. Last Saturday, various organizations, I don't want to miss any, I'll get in trouble. I know that the Fort Battle Site Beautification, Vision, the Garden Club, in celebration of Earth Day, had a community cleanup. I did not make it in time to the lot in Fort Montgomery before they started. I chose to dedicate the day to Garrison Pond, where I've lived most of my life. And I want to say, I was out there, and there was only 1/2 of a 55-gallon drum full of rubbish out there, which really isn't that bad. And you've heard me in the swan, father and mother swan, they kind of get to know you, and they usually don't attack you. They can be dangerous, so the father delineated where he allowed me to go, and I did my thing. The father is not happy because there's a geese nesting down on the southeast portion of the lake. Sometimes they sneak in. 24/7, that father swan chases that goose. He can't catch him. He never stops. So I just wonder how he feels inside. So I'd like to thank all my neighbors and the people who use the lake for keeping it clean. The milfoil is now starting to surface. The other day it wasn't at the surface. It is now. I know they're going to treat it soon. And I've talked before about treating the reeds, which are taking over It's not Japanese knotwood. I don't want to state incorrectly what it is, but it's like bamboo. It's invasive and it grows fast. I spent some time looking at the wildlife in it. There are a large number of red-winged blackbirds. I call them bottle rocket birds if you listen to the sound that they make. And they're inhabiting it. So it's $4,500 for our company that treats a lake to take care of the reeds. I'm going to investigate just what's involved in that and see if there's any point in pursuing it. At the next meeting, I'll have something to say about that. I was late, but I did attend the village meeting, and I'm going to defer to Mindy to make sure I'm right. They did adopt CCA in their resolution at that meeting. Is that correct?
It did.
Okay. And as far as the sewer department goes, so we had a meeting that Bob attended. I attended. Pat brought me in by FaceTime about all the things going on down there, which I think they've extended it from May until August now, if I'm not mistaken. There's a
Yes,
new
yes.
completion date. And I know the EFC is involved with funding and all that stuff. So I just expressed some dissatisfaction, not so much with the contractor, but what we've gone through with the engineer. And the biggest thing I expressed concern over, and Jim took the time to spend 2 hours with me the other night looking at all this stuff. They knocked down the greenhouse first thing, which is where the sludge goes to. I wish they hadn't have done that, because for the last 6 months, we paid all this money to get rid of liquid sludge. I don't think they did it in order that I would have been happy with. I expressed my concern with that. And that's probably cost us between 25 and 30 grand at this point in sludge, liquid sludge removal. Not sure we can do anything about it. Pat Patterson went down there and he sent me an email today, and you've probably gotten it, to negotiate trading off some blacktopping done at bid price, state bid price, for things that they will give back for. I think he's doing a very good job, and you probably know more about that than I do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I said to everybody out, I know it's an uncomfortable subject, I'll just say it. The average flow for the month of March was 103,000 gallons per month on a plant that's permitted for 120. And when we're done with this project, it's not going to increase the capacity of the plant. So just putting that out there. I'm doing a year's worth of DMRs. When I'm done at the end of this week with all those, I'm going to email them to everybody to let you see just what's going on. And we'll have to decide what we're going to do. And I think that's it.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to steal a little bit of Councilman King's thunder. How about those O'Neill Raiders? Huh?
All right.
All right, team, all right? Okay. I knew you were going to say that, so I wanted to beat you to it.
You got me. Okay, good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Just a few notes from me this evening. We're going to start off with transportation. And just a brief note that Colleen had to meet with Ellen Russell with the county today about some restructuring of funding. We don't know if that's going to be for the positive or the negative. She owes us a brief back on that. We just wanted to alert the board that that is an ongoing discussion. Next is recreation. Big topic for recreation is the summer rec programs. So our summer camp for the town will run June 28th through August 13th. It will run in conjunction with the Highland Falls Independent School District Summer Enrichment Program. So the town has a program and the school district has a program simultaneously. How we're going to incorporate these two things so they are enhancements of one another versus competition. If the enrichment program runs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., then our summer rec program would then run on the same days from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. On the days that the summer enrichment program does not run, then the town program would go from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's an all-day program. But we'll do half a day on the same days that the summer enrichment program is going. So that way we incorporate into each other's program. Moving right along, that's for recreation. Well, to conclude recreation, I just want to say that the baseball season, the softball season is underway. They had their, first, the beginning was like last Saturday, I believe it was. As you hadn't noticed, a lot of good work going on the fields, both the Ponytails field out there in Fort Montgomery and the Little League and the big field here in Highlands Falls. I actually got a chance to see Aaron in action as he prepared those fields. And I think I seen a drone picture from my colleague, Richard Sullivan, that
I sent them out to everybody.
Looks
Brooks's.
good job. Senior Citizen Center. You know, a couple months ago, you may have heard us talk about the use of the Senior Citizen Center, and I think the mayor's intent was to transform the name into the community center, get more usage out of it. We'll come to find out that there was some prohibitions to that, based off the fact that it was a grant that provided the funds to get that building. There's a stipulation that said you have to use it for 10 years exclusively for the senior citizens. That's why the grant was given. And so it appears that the 10 years is not up right now. So that was confirmed by an Orange County legislator. I asked her to look into that for me. She confirmed it with Ms. Nicole Anderson, who's from the Community Development Block Grant Office of the county. Now, the question I still have is if the senior center was intended to be open from 8 to 4 or whatever when the grant was awarded, I believe we had a solution, because I recommended to the supervisor and the board that we take the recreation director, move his office down into the senior center. Now it becomes open all day, and anybody that wants to use it, i.e. that's qualified, senior citizens, they would have more access to it. Because one of the complaints in the past has been they couldn't get in there. So it's still not decided. That's my recommendation. We have a meeting scheduled with the mayor of Highlands Falls, the supervisor, and myself on Wednesday. And this is probably going to be one of the topics of discussion. Just want to be transparent to the community that we are trying to work to get the best usage out of that building. And last but not least, the supervisor thought he stole my thunder, but I was at the game on Friday night when I saw the James I. O'Neil incredible football team culminate their season with the last victory, becoming Section 9 champions after an undefeated season. I had some flashbacks of myself playing. Of course, I didn't go undefeated when I played, but so I can't compare to those guys. And I'm not sure if I even got any playing time, but the fact is, I was on the team. So I broke out my Raider gear, just so everybody knows I am a proud James I. O'Neil former student, and I was certainly proud of that team on Friday night. And a lot of great football played this year, despite the pandemic. So, so congratulations to the team and the parents. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Marvin?
Good evening, everyone. Just a few things. Richie mentioned the village board meeting passing the CCA, so we were glad to see about that. That's going to help move that forward. Also, village is close to finalizing their new budget for next year. There's been a lot of information recently in the paper about that, some things that they're looking at, things like that. So we'll see what happens with that. Several meetings over at West Point over the last couple of weeks. Still working with them on the intergovernmental support agreement activity. They're going to be providing me a list of what their priorities are in terms of shared services types of things. So as I see that, we'll neck that down a little bit more to see what kind of opportunity there may be for us to participate with that. This may have been announced, I'm not sure, but graduation over there this year is going to be on May 22nd. Unlike last year, it's going to be similar to last year, but unlike last year, cadets are going to have the opportunity to have 4 guests attend the graduation ceremony with them. I mentioned that not only as just interest for the community, but the fact that there will be every expectation that guests will be coming on post with the cadets, and there will probably be a lot more guests in the area that can't get on post, but staying in our hotels, visiting our restaurants, local businesses, and things like that. So again, the day for graduation is May 22nd, so just a little over a month from, or a little less than a month from now. Reception day for the new cadets coming in is the last weekend of June. It's going to be a 3-day event again, and I think June 28th is a Monday, and I think that's I believe that may be the last day. So I think it's the 3-day type of thing as before. Sort of semi-big, I think it's big news. that tentatively they're looking at mid-July to opening the post back up. Depending upon how things go with, everything with the pandemic and COVID and those kinds of things. But right now, they sort of have a little bit of a mark on the wall. It's going to be the superintendent's call for sure, but right now, at least they're trying to make things happen by the 17th of July. So, again, during the summertime, we're going to be hopefully seeing a lot more activity coming through the community and sort of getting back to a little bit of normalcy. Other activities, Chamber of Commerce related activity, you will see this weekend the art pieces being installed for the Art Walk for this year. I think they'll start arriving on Friday through the weekend for all of that. And so that is doing very, very well, and we will start to see that taking place. School board elections, I think we all know, are going to be on the 18th of May, so we're going to be seeing a lot more activity associated with that. I think it's commonly called the COVID Relief Bill, officially called the American Rescue Plan. There's increasingly more information coming out on that. It looks like the town of Highlands, the entire town of Highlands, is going to get a little over $1.3 million associated with that. The first payments, half of that, will be coming to us possibly sometime during the month of May, but that date is still tentative right now. That 1.3, it's like 1.33, 1.34 million. That is the entire town. So there's a piece of that that's going to go to the village of Highland Falls, and then there's going to be a piece of that that goes to the town of Highlands outside of Highland Falls. Don't know yet what that split is going to be. Don't know yet how that's going, what the formula is or anything like that. Kelly is tracking this. I think I've copied you on some emails with that.
Oh, yeah.
But Kelly's tracking this and everything too. So just wanted to let everyone know that that is coming. It's going to be half, the way the law is written, half will be paid now, soon, and the other half will be paid over a 2-year period. And there's a point in time in which the funding needs to be expended by. It could be used for offsetting expenses associated with the pandemic, and there's other types of things that we will be looking at. Probably need to pull her in, make some decisions on how we want to do it once we know how much is going to be coming to us. And the last thing, and Richie mentioned it to Councilman Sullivan, that was a great tour. Learned a lot about the sewer plant and everything. So that was very, very good. And we definitely have some things we're going to be talking about. So thank you much for that.
Thank you, Jim.
I appreciate
I
it.
invite people all the time. They'll go to Vision, they'll go to the ambulance corps, they'll go to fun events. Nobody wants to come visit me down at the sewer plant, so thanks for coming.
Well, and I have one more thing too. I see Jeff is here. That I don't know if Jeff, if you have any comments that you want to make.
Just the Lucas's, we got part of the delivery for the Lucas machine, and May 3rd, 4th, Tuesday, we're gonna have a training on the use of it.
Beautiful. That's good. Yes.
Still short on coverage, we're dropping calls, so we gotta do something about it.
Okay. We'll need to look at that. Yeah, definitely so. And yet to be determined, but I think it's safe to announce that the Highland Falls, West Point Highland Falls Rotary Club is going to be making a donation to the ambulance corps also. That's going to help defray some costs of some things. And Jeff is working with.
I got an email from Chief Stone and Steve Scott. Those funds will be used so we don't have to go
Yeah.
to put the power structure
Into
That's what the board members decided.
into the ambulance. Yeah, good. So we're making good headway with that.
Excellent.
So that's all I've got for tonight.
Okay, Scout Monahan, what do you think so far?
I see a lot of things that could be fixed and a lot of things that are really good around here.
Okay. And how about the reports? Were they good enough for you to understand? And-
Yes.
Yeah.
My brain has not exploded yet, so. I'm
All right.
ready.
Okay. Well, we got one more report coming. Chief?
Just a couple things. Thank you very much.
So, as part of the police reform, a couple items already started up. I actually spoke to Mary Jane today, and she advised that there's 60 followers, Mary Jane? So we have the Town of Highlands PD Instagram account is up and running.
Plus
I-
me now, 61.
61, fantastic. I know there was some pictures of the officers that were in for the cleanup, assisting on 9W. This first cycle, the spring cycle of firearms is no longer 4 hours, it's 6 hours. So we'll be implementing, I just got the lesson plan for de-escalation. So we'll start 2 hours of de-escalation training and then cover our 4 hours of firearms training. And to be better and more involved in the community, we have pretty much are ready to go with the student from James Island Neal. I met with the English teacher the other day at the station, and her plan is to have the student come introduce herself to Fran and then set up a schedule. So hopefully this is one of many times that we'll be able to interact with students and show them the operation even of a small police department, really no different than any police department, just on a small scale. So police reform items are in effect right now. Right? Anything? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Justin, do you have anything?
Well, since Jeff is here, I'll let him know that I'm working on the 501c3 papers that they submitted, so hopefully we'll be in shape to help the ambulance corps shortly.
Excellent, good, good.
Thank you.
Okay, on the agenda, we have a resolution to agree with Troy Bank Services on cable refunds. What started this, we received a letter from the town of Huntington. And please be advised that the town of Huntington retained the service of Troy and Banks to audit the franchise agreement the town has with Altice, I guess it is. We were pleased with their attention to detail, their courtesy, and their professionalism. The audit resulted in a payment to the town from Altice in the amount of $750,000. We would recommend the firm Troy and Banks for auditing your needs. I have an agreement from them, which I'm amazed at how much money they've gotten for the towns, and I think I shared this with the town board. So, Justin, I don't have the resolution you sent to us, so,
sure.
Well, you can take care of it.
I can take care of it, sure. Most of you hopefully have a resolution before you of the town board authorizing a retainer agreement for Troy and Banks Consulting on an audit of the cable franchise fees. Again, it's a contingent fee arrangement, so unless there is a recovery and refund to the town of Highlands, there is no payment to the consultants, and any fee that they receive would ultimately be as part of the refund. It's a very fair agreement. They did provide numerous towns in New York that they have received refunds from, so it seems to make sense. So this would just authorize the retainer agreement by the supervisor if someone makes that motion.
And it would be very interesting, I think in 1970, no, not, it wouldn't be 70, that would be too far, 1990, I signed the first agreement with our first franchise
With your
agreement
provider.
with
Yeah.
Cablevision, I think it was then. It has not changed since then. So it'd be very interesting what they might pick out of that agreement.
Absolutely. Well worth doing.
Yeah. I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Modlin?
Aye.
Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye. Okay, I'm sure everyone is aware that New York State is in the process of legalizing marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it. As they're legalizing it, they're setting up a program where towns and villages, and I suppose cities, can opt out of the program. If we opt out, we don't have to allow any stores growing, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have to allow it. And Justin, if I'm saying anything wrong.
Well, yeah.
You're looking at me.
Retail establishments and, right? But
Right.
individuals would still be able
Oh,
to
yeah,
comply
yeah,
with
yeah.
the law.
Yeah, retail, I should have said retail. The thing is, if we don't allow it, we don't get any revenues that might be taken in by it. So we have until the end of the year. I'm giving everybody on the board plenty of time to talk to their friends and neighbors, and everybody and anybody in town. The village would have to do this separately. The town outside the village would be separate. I'll bring it up again in another month or so and what have you. And before we do anything about this, we have to have a public hearing. It's a town law. And if we're not going to do anything and just let it happen, then there's no need for a public hearing or anything, correct?
That's totally correct. If you're not passing legislation, you could opt to have an informational hearing if you wanted to hear from your public one way or the other.
And as I get information on this, I most certainly will pass it on to the board, so we can come up with the proper conclusion. Oh, yeah, what did I do with that? Not on your agenda. Mr. Supervisor, as you know, we kept a position that Dylan Loftus filled in the budget. He was our part-time summer help who took care of the cemeteries, the parks, Mindock Park in particular. So Pat is requesting that we hire a young local man by the name of Gerard Gargilo. All right. Who came highly recommended to fill this position. This is as long as Gerard is approved by the county. So I'll ask for a motion to hire Gerard, contingent on the county approving and at the pay rate of $15 per hour as part-time summer help.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Could I ask a question? Does he have it in his budget to pay for this?
Yes,
He does?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he left Dylan's money in the budget.
Okay, okay.
Okay, that's all I have. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I had one thing that I forgot to mention. So, I think most of the board members are probably aware, I'm not sure about the community, that the famed Buffalo soldiers who used to be stationed at West Point and resided in the village of Highlands Falls for the most part, all of which are now deceased, rest in peace, will be honored with a monument being erected on West Point Labor Day weekend. I think the exact date is September 5th, Sunday. So that's gonna be a pretty big deal. So you talk about a monument going up to honor the Buffalo soldiers who were stationed at West Point, but the rest of the story is they lived in Highland Falls, so they're part of our community, right? Most of us remember Sergeant Sanders Matthews, the last of which passed away a couple years ago. So, I got to thinking, and I said, how do we, because we don't know that it'd be open, somebody briefed that it could be, that we could go over, but it may not be. So I thought, how do we as a community participate in such a monumental event? And I came up with this idea that maybe we could do a parade down Main Street with folks from the African American community who are equestrians. I've reached out to an equestrian team in North Carolina, one in Philadelphia, one in Connecticut, all of which would love to participate. I think we might be able to get between 15 and 20 horses to come down Main Street. I think that would be a great way to honor them. Secondly, I asked, and it's not wickered out yet, but we're asking West Point, could we come through the gate, do a circle around Buffalo Soldier Field, stop, take a picture over there where the old horse stables were at, that are now administrative buildings, and then walk out the gate as a form of honoring them. Because we know they used to train cadets on that field, over there. And then I talked with Mayor Joe about, and Dr. Sheboy, about could we culminate with some sort of festival over at Fickens Field, when we get the horses off and off the road and get them over to Fickens, and we do some sort of celebratory barbecue or something. talked to Merv about this also too. He's ecstatic about being involved. So again, I just want to put that out there for folks to know that this is a pretty big deal. I know they're talking about, meaning West Point, inviting some really big name, big senior people in the government, folks like the Secretary of Defense and others. And so I think it'd just be a shame if the folks here didn't have some sort of way to celebrate it as well.
Mhm. Excellent idea.
Okay, so I'll just put that out there. I'll
Thank you.
continue to work it, and I'll continue to brief the board on it.
And bringing Merv up, and Merv Livesey, my son, is organizing a Memorial Day, COVID-related, if you want, parade with a ceremony at the Memorial Park. That's up and coming and being planned and being worked on.
He mentioned that to me, and I told him that if he needs any help from me, he got it.
Good.
I'll help him anyway.
Very good. Any public comment? Anybody? Anybody? No? Okay. I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Gerard, thank you for joining us.